Welcome to Fill in the Gaps. I'm John.
I'm Anisha.
And today we're going to be talking about Justice League Dark. Basically, the point of the show is we're going to talk about something in media or movies that you might not know too much about and give you the history on it. So, Anisha, how much do you know about Justice League Dark?
Virtually nothing.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's going to be helpful today. So, for those of you who don't know, Justice League Dark is a DC Comics property, and they're basically an offshoot of the Justice League. So, they're kind of like a spin-off. So, you have Cheers, you have Frasier, you have Justice League Dark. The reason they're called Justice League Dark is because they handle dark magic and all of the kind of things that Justice League normally can't do. So the members are John Constantine, sort of a regular human who's a wizard, Etrigan the Demon, who's part man, part demon, and he can change in between, and he's from the Middle Ages. In the Enchantress, sometimes, where she's an archaeologist who is possessed by a really old witch. She was in Suicide Squad, if you're familiar. Sometimes she's a bad guy, sometimes a good guy. There is Swamp Thing, who is a man possessed by the green of the earth. So basically his job is to protect the environment of Earth. He's very green, and he looks like a giant swamp monster. There's Zatanna, who is, again, a regular woman. She started out as a show magician and became a real magician throughout that. So when you think of Justice League Dark, how do you think important they are to the Justice League?
Well, it's interesting because when I first heard of Justice League Dark, I automatically assumed something bad. Like, yeah. I just assumed that these were just, like, the regular Justice League characters, but, like, in an alternate universe, they were bad.
Yeah, it's not like the evil versions of them.
Yeah, so now knowing that these are completely different characters, I think it'd be kind of interesting to see how they would be implemented into, like, the regular DC universe in a way. I think they could be really helpful to the actual Justice League, make it a bigger family, if you will. Yeah,
it's one of the things that DC did to try and extend out their reach and make their comic books sort of different. Because there's the regular superheroes, which is you get from the Justice League, and then you have Justice League Dark, and they can do kind of darker stories and more like horror-themed stuff. Because if you look at Suicide Squad, the movie really was a great example of what the Justice League Dark would do. Because when there's someone who is magic, who can't be stopped by your Batman, your Superman, or your Wonder Woman, they need people who know what's going on, who can go in and stop it. And they get kind of the darker horror themes. Like in the beginning, with the subway scene where the guy basically just absorbs a bunch of people and has this grotesque kind of like horror show. That's definitely something you would see in Justice League Dark, maybe not so much in a Superman movie. So it's really just an interesting aspect of the Justice League. So next I would say is, how do you think they try and get their team members in? So when they look at people who are like John Constantine, who are loners, right. How do you think they combine all these people who don't work well as a team together?
I think that they would try to at least find like some similarity that they have. I know that a lot of the movies, whenever they do, like so Avengers and then like Suicide Squad, they get these bands of people who are basically different in like every way possible, but then they unite them with like one singular cause, and I think that would probably work the same way for them.
Yeah, with the magic, too. Something they all can do.
Yeah.
So how do you think, compared to Marvel, they seem to be still kind of bright and happy, and they're bringing magic with Doctor Strange. Yeah. How do you think the Justice League Dark, because Justice League Dark is, one, going to be an animated movie, but they're also greenlighting a live-action movie to direct it. I think Guillermo del Toro is looking to direct that, and there are other people who are trying to get on it. So how do you think Justice League Dark is going to either help or hurt the DC movies?
Well, I think that Justice League Dark could really help the movies. I think that seeing this other side of being like a superhero, something that you wouldn't really consider, because in a way, all these people don't really see themselves as heroes. They're just united by, the magic. So I think just placing that there could really show the more human nature, I think, of DC.
That's great, and you think it's going to help them branch out? Because when I think of Justice League Dark, it's so different from what Marvel is doing, and they're really bright and happy movies, and they're bringing in Doctor Strange with magic, but it's still a very kind of different feel than what we would get. So how do you think Justice League Dark is going to help differentiate DC from Marvel in a good way?
I think so. I think that Marvel has kind of set a tone for themselves in their movies, and I think in a way they are starting to get a little more like serious about different matters. And it's not like they think it's like frivolous or whatever, but I think they're setting a new tone with Doctor Strange and the next Thor movie. But I think that DC is going to set themselves apart right away if they do Justice League Dark. They show, we're willing to show something like Suicide Squad, which a lot of people thought was like funny and like not serious, and then they go set the tone with Justice
And just
League.
right off the bat, whereas Marvel's, they've done like 13 other movies,
Yeah.
where DC is just starting right off with the crazy stuff.
Yeah.
All right, well, do you have any other questions about Justice League Dark? Anything you want to know?
No, I think
right.
I'm set. Yeah.
Well, thanks. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, just put them in the comment section below. I'm John.
I'm Anisha.
I'll see you guys later. That was the video.